Yo, what's up guys, Shujinkydink here. Welcome to a video all about... Yo, what's up guys, Shujinkydink here. Welcome to a video all about my final tier list before Aftermath. So, this is just my experience from everything coming up to this day. I figured people love tier lists, so let's make one. They have all the characters listed here in alphabetical order, I'm assuming, except for the DLC. So, I guess I'll just start there. We got Mr. Baraka. Baraka, I am going to put in the B tier. I think he's like right in the middle of the pack. He's really good. He does have some troublesome matchups, and there are some things like his 1-1-2 string can be easily hit out of, low profiled, so there's some things like that. But I think overall, he can hold his own. He's got some big damage in Marauder, some really good footsies and zoning and Bone Picker. And his third variation is kind of I haven't really messed around with it too much recently, but anyways, that's the young Baraka. Next on, Cassandra Cage. I think Raiden's the only one that ever calls her that, which is kind of funny. I think she's in the A tier. She's not quite top, but she can definitely hold her own, you know. Against most of the cast, I think she only has like a couple troublesome matchups, and I think her other variations are pretty good at countering it. I think Digital Soldier being the main one that you'd want to use. I'm no Cassie expert, but that's just my experience. Then we have Sister Cetrion, so we're just going to move her right here because, gotcha. No, she's definitely one of the best in the game. Spring Cleaning, definitely one of the top variations. Could actually be the top variation in the game. And Force of Nature is a very strong variation on its own, you know. Of course, I main it, so I know how good it is. Giving out the rock wall kind of hurts her a little bit up close, because then most of the stuff she does is fairly unsafe. But she does have some good 50-50s, good mix-ups. Ground pound cancel is fun. A little gimmicky, but it can be fun. But Spring Cleaning, without a doubt, one of the best, for sure. And then young Devora. So, Devora, I'm going to put in the C tier here. It's hard. I might move her to B, but I'm not sure. I think from what I've seen, like she's definitely good. She's got some really cool setups, but I think she does struggle and have quite a few troublesome matchups, and is kind of unsafe on some things. I mean, the Ovipostor Rush usually keeps her safe for the most part, but I mean, you have the guess on whether you're going to enhance it or not. So I think C tier, but I mean, if you would argue B tier, she's definitely nowhere near the top. I think there's much better characters than her there. Yeah, so that's that. Moving on, Aaron Black. I'm going to put him in the A tier, almost best in the game, but doesn't quite make the cut. There's just a couple things that he's missing out on. A couple matchups. Force of Nature, actually, is one in particular that I really like playing against him. You zone him out fairly easy because you can't scud shot the ground pound or the shattering boulder. So a lot of these are just from my perspective, so take it with a grain of salt. Don't get all mad at me because I put one character in a tier that they didn't belong in. This is purely my experience for entertainment purposes. This is what I believe. Frost. I think Frost is probably in the B tier. I think she's probably a little bit better than Devora. Usable with a secondary. Maybe some troublesome matchups overall. But I think Frost being in B tier. I don't think she's as bad to put her in C tier. She has some pretty good long-reaching normals. Frostbite's got some pretty sick corner stuff, as I found out recently the hard way. But yeah, so that's where I would put Frost. Garrus. Garrus is an A tier, almost best in the game. He used to be S tier, in my opinion. He used to be. He still got some ridiculous, like, crushing blows. Like, they're ridiculous. But he does have quite a few gaps now. His third variation, Eternal Garrus, I think it is, seems to be played a lot more now than Infinite Warden and New Era. But he's one of the characters in this game, one of the few characters in this game that actually have like 3 really good variations. So I mean, you could pick, either one of them and you could be good. So I think it's just some things, some gaps and stuff that you can abuse. Jackie, I think, is probably in the S tier in my opinion. She's up there for sure. 9-frame mid, upgraded is crazy. Once you figure out the matchup, it's a little bit easier, but I mean, the movement in this game that she has and how quick it starts up and stuff, she's up there for sure. Definitely up there. Jade I'd probably put in the A tier. She's a hard counter to quite a few characters, and there's not too many counters to her. I don't believe. I think I did hear Frost was one of them, which actually I was going to pick up Frost specifically for the Jade matchup because I thought, hey, I struggle in that matchup, so why not pick up a character that beats her? But I wanted to play Frostbite, and apparently she beats her in the other variation, so there goes that idea. Womp womp. Jax. Jax is up there too. He's got some really good, he's pretty much safe on everything. Absolutely safe on everything. And he deals with zoning fairly well. His Thumper is actually quite annoying, which should be the one weakness that he has. But, I mean, it's not a strength that he has for sure, but, I mean, he can deal with it fairly well for a character that's, like, quite rushed down. And, like, his comeback potential is ridiculous. You know, he just hits you, like, 2 or 3 times and your health bar is gone. Like, he's not an enjoyable person to fight. Johnny Cage is up there in the S tier, I believe. He's just good. I'm so glad that they nerfed Outtake. Those fireballs were, force balls. Green shit, green shit, green shit, green shit. I can't zone that. Anyways, yeah, but he's still good. Ridiculous damage. I think in Showstopper he gets quite a few grounded crushing blow combos. I think it's Showstopper with the shades. Yeah, and good footsies, good movement. Yeah, he carries for sure. Cabal, I'm going to put in A tier. I think this character has kind of flown under the radar for the longest time. I think it took Kerbo for us to kind of realize it. But, I mean, safe on absolutely everything. Great footsie neutral game, which is what this game is based on. Fatal blow that goes off the screen and comes at you from the other side. You're always constantly making guesses on jumping, so he gets free jumps because you're always worried about that downward saw. I mean, he's just a fantastically good character, so I think he's in the A tier, but not quite strong enough to be in the S tier. Just kind of like really good at everything, but not great, you know? Kano, I'm going to put in B tier. I think he probably does have some really good matchups. He has the armor in the one variation that's kind of nice. Cannonball is just kind of like a screw your neutral move. Some interesting setups that I've seen. I think it's Ratbag where he has the, or maybe it's Dirtbag with the Molotov cocktail. Some really cool setups and stuff I've seen with that, and people like getting throws into it and stuff. So interesting character, but I think he just doesn't really shine. He's like Cabal, but like just good at everything, not even like great at everything like Cabal is. So my opinion. Katana is another one of the ones that I think has 3 very viable variations. I think between all 3 variations, you could probably take on any matchup in the game and you'd be fine. Highborn, Fanfare for the combo damage, Fearless for the zoning. I mean, she's just a complete character. I wish I could say that about every single character, but they seem to have abandoned a lot of variations, and I hope that with this Aftermath I just had a stroke, Jesus. Aftermath patch that they make some of these variations that you don't see, Spellmaster, usable. So you can actually have, like, how fun would it be to have 3 variations for every character that are fully usable? You can play the one that you want. You don't have to worry about being at a disadvantage. I mean, it's a fighting game, so there's always going to be one person higher than the other. But if you lower that, you add so much more fun to the game. So, yeah, I said it. What up? Collector, I want to put him in B tier. I think I'm going to put him in B tier. I don't think he's C tier. He does struggle in some aspects, but I think in other ways he's actually quite good. So I think that, I don't know, playing against him like is one of the fastest mid command grabs in the game. He's got good movement with his forward 3, and all grounded combo damage. So I think, his actual like movement as far as like walk speeds and stuff is a little bit slower, but I think he makes up for that once he kind of gets in on you. Really good staggers, that kind of thing. So I think I feel okay putting Collector in that part. Okay, moving on to Kotal Khan. I'm going to put Kotal in the B tier. He has 3 good variations, but they're just good. They're not really fantastic. So they're all very situational, I feel. So like you couldn't really how to explain it? They're just too easy to counterpick, I feel. with the exception maybe of Bullock or no, even Ascension. I feel you could. I mean, kind of loses to zoning a bit there. Bullock makes up for it with a little bit of extra damage, so it's probably the most balanced one. Kotal Khan mains, correct me if I'm wrong here. Ascension is very good once you get in with that command grab, but you know, overall does struggle with zoning. And then you have Totemic, which you get the kitty pounds to go around the zoning, but it's not guaranteed. And most zoning's pretty quick anyway, so you're making a read on that. So, just my opinion. Correct me if I'm totally wrong on that one. Moving on, Kung Lao. He started off as somebody that I think was like way underestimated, and I think just because people were just thinking in the MKX mentality of you need to have a low and overhead, and once they kind of got going with Kung Lao and they had a stagger game and found out this is a really poke and throw type game, and there's a lack of anti-airs, you throw that on top of it. You're not anti-airing Kung Lao. Get out of here. He's also got the dive kick, jump kicks. He's jumping at you. He's staggering. He's throwing you. He's just, just lacks a couple things to keep him out of the S tier. But I think he's definitely up there. Liu Kang is an S tier in my opinion. If I've ever seen one, he's just good at everything. He can outzone Cetrion sometimes, which is annoying. Just kind of one variation though, I think. Like, I feel what the Wuxi Legend is the one with the teleport. I mean, it's gimmicky, so if you know how to get around it, you just neutral jump. But I think just his first one is so strong. Stagger game is strong. Lots of, he's got plus frames. He's very quick. Like I mentioned, excellent counter zoning, good zoning. He's just great everywhere. He doesn't even need a second variation. He could just be Liu Kang. Like, everyone's got big variations, and it's just Liu Kang. So that's my explanation for putting him in S tier. Nightwolf. I'm going to do this saying in advance that I don't have too much Nightwolf knowledge, but I'm going to put him in the B tier. I've seen King Gambler do some really cool things with him, and he has some really solid gameplay. And also playing lots of games with Sakayo, watching his Nightwolf grow. It's been really fun. I just kind of get the feeling that he's missing something to keep him out of the top. He's quite good. He's got the second variation that has that command grab that has quite a few ticks, and they're decent ticks. He's just missing something that just puts him above the rest, in my opinion. He's like Paraka, just perfectly mediocre. Again, I could be wrong. I don't claim to be right all the time. I'm gonna put Noob in B tier. I think similar to all the rest of them here, he's just perfectly mediocre. They're not particularly bad, they're just not particularly good, and definitely not good enough to be an S tier. So he's strong, and a good noob is really hard to fight against. They're really frustrating. Their zoning's good, their spacing's good. He's got some decent crushing blows. Some are kind of hard to hit, like the 10 shadow ones I don't see hit very often, but with seeing double, I think that kind of adds that increased chance of getting it, So Raiden, I'm going to go ahead and put in the unviable tier for now. You could make the argument that Raijin is a decent variation, but I think in comparison to the rest of the cast, and especially looking overall, because I've been looking at overall variations here, and I mean, he only has one variation that's kind of good if you use it, so I mean, I don't see that variation winning any tournaments, but maybe 5-5s across the board, but nothing too crazy. Then we got Scorpion, so we're gonna go ahead and put Scorpion up here in the I'm just kidding, guys. I'll go with the experts. Everyone says he struggles a lot. He's in the lower tier. I just have a mental block against Scorpion, and I haven't labbed him as much as I should. So I can see all the gaps and stuff that he has, and he's a little slow, and he has to overcommit in his other variations outside of the Reborn, so I'll put him down on the struggles against most category. Shang Tsung, A tier. Warlock zoning is really frustrating if you get a good Shang Tsung. And then you also have Soul Eater, which is also a very good variation. Counter zoning, some mix-ups, some extra crushing blows. So, justice for Spellmaster, though, guys. Come on, that's the one variation I want to play. I don't want to play the other ones. Shao Kahn, no surprise. He's probably the worst in the game right now. Maybe tied with Raiden. I don't know how close they are. But sounds like he's getting some nice buffs, so hopefully my next tier list that I do, he'll he'll be up here instead. Well, we were to see the return of Dark Dink, playing some Shao Kahn, maybe playing around with new buffs. Scarlet. I'll agree with my good friend Hater here. I don't think Scarlet is on the same level as Raiden and Shao Kahn, but she definitely struggles a lot against the cast. She's just full of gaps, and she needs something that's like guaranteed that like she can safely go into without having to worry about being flawless blocked or low profile or something like that. She's got decent zoning, but like it's just decent. You're gonna get in sooner or later, and then she's kind of screwed. So hopefully we'll get some Scarlet action going on. Sonya, I think I'm gonna put in A tier because I think she can be zoned out in some matchups. Like Force of Nature is fine against her, and then she can't really get in. It feels almost like a 7-3 sometimes. But then once she gets in, she's got all the mix-ups. You know, her projectile on zone is fairly quick. You know, in most matchups, I'm sure she can counter zone. So there's just a couple troublesome matchups, I think, that are just keeping her out of the S tier. So I'm going to put her at the A tier for now. Sub-Zero is going into the B tier because I think he's perfectly mediocre. He lives and dies by the mix. He's playing MKX while everybody else is playing MK11. So I'm going to put him there. Next is the Terminator, who is going into my A tier. I'm running out of room in the A tier. Just shows how many good characters there are in this game. He's another one that plays the mix, playing MKX while we're all playing. Oh, someone's walking past my house. While we're all playing MK11. But he just does it better than Sub-Zero. He can do it safer. Low options are safe most of the time. He's got command grabs on top of mix-ups. So he's just a little slow. Not quite enough to be up in the S tier. So Sindel, I think, is also in the A tier. I think we're going to lose. Yeah, we lost. We lost our C tier and D tier. Dang it. That's okay. Well, maybe I can fix this. Hold on. Look at that. It's like I'm good at computers or something. So we only have 2 characters left here. So we have Joker, who is in the S tier. Just watching some of the stuff that Sonic Fox is doing is just ridiculous. And I think he kind of might be a one variation character, though. And the other 2 variations are fun and they're okay, but I don't think they're anywhere close to his top variation. So definitely S tier, best of the game in my opinion. Top 5 right here. You're seeing it. And the last character is Spawn, and I'm going to put Spawn... I would make an argument for A tier. I just think he's just mediocre. Like, he's just good at it, you know, everything. His first variation doesn't really do anything too exciting. He has the other 2 variations are good. One stays really, really safe. One has big combo damage. Sometimes can be like 500 unbreakable damage. Pretty easy to air escape out of, though. So he does have the anti-breakaway thing, but I don't think he gets it in the second variation, which would be kind of stupid if he had it. But I think he's perfectly mediocre, maybe a little bit above average. So I mean, if you wanted to put him in the A tier, I wouldn't argue with you. That's where I have him. That's where I have him. That's where he lives. He lives in the B tier. Fire me. So that's it, guys. That's my last tier list until Aftermath. Hope you enjoyed it. I've been trying to do a little bit more content that's not just Combat League. I felt getting a little stale with that, so I wanted to be more creative and do more stuff and just give you guys more well-rounded content. So let me know if you like things like this. I'll continue to do it in the future. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't because we make new videos almost every single day. #Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you guys in the next video.